Okay.
Oklahoma State and Texas, the last Big 12 title game that Texas will be involved in. This one comes against the Mullet. What do you think about this game, my good man?
Look, as much as we haven't been painted as such, but I mean, I have been a bit of a Texas hater. I was trying to find a way to rationalize, hey, is there a reasonable possibility here? And as we really dive into this, there's not. Oklahoma State played the game of their lives against Oklahoma. That was a fantastic performance, and they have beaten up on the middle of the Big 12. Ollie Gordon is really fun to watch, and he is somebody who I will continually bring up as an X factor in any game that they play. But at the end of the day, the fact that this team is 111th in pass defense allowed and 102nd in run defense allowed, they got walloped by UCF, who has a losing record. I see this game playing out as being close in the first quarter, and then we start chirping on Twitter, and everyone's like, oh my God, what's going to happen with Texas? And then there's going to be one big shot and then another big shot by Texas, and they're going to start to pull away. Kind of like the Texas Tech game, but it wasn't close, for very long. It'll probably be close for the first quarter, and then Texas will pull away.
I think that this has splattering written all over it. Now, in the beginning of the show, I told you that for this game, there's going to be somebody's going to have to be Superman. And guess who it isn't? It isn't Ollie Gordon. Do you know who it's got to be?
Alan Bowman.
Let me tell you why. I've heard a lot about Texas. I've heard that, those are games that they would have normally lost, and which is all true. I've heard maybe, they are back. Maybe Sark really, because of recruiting, development, and how they've looked offensively, that they're back. Okay, well, we're about to find out. This is the ultimate test because of all the stigma that surrounds you in it. Can you finish? Alan Bowman's going to have to go off. He has more interceptions than he does touchdowns, but he does have 3 straight games where he's thrown for 300 yards. I will tell you, if there is a way, and look, Alan Bowman's thrown that thing over 400 times. He would look. I know the touchdown to interception ratio is completely off, but there are yards to be had in this Texas secondary. Joe, I've been saying this, I don't know how long. Texas is one of the worst secondaries in the country that nobody's talking about. They are 93rd in the country in passing yards allowed. So I use that to say it's not just my thought process, right? It's not like I'm not just coming out here saying, oh, their secondary's not that good. They got some young guys that I do think are getting better. I will admit, I think that some of these young sophomores and freshmen are getting better. But I think that we got a splattering on our hands because as much as I say that about Texas's secondary, Joe, Oklahoma State's defense has been so bad all year that if basically when I'm calling for Oklahoma State to win, you got to have a shootout, and you're not going to win in a shootout against Texas, buddy. I'm sorry.
Here's the other way that I see this, and we got to look back to what happened when they beat Oklahoma. Alan Bowman, as you just talked about there, was flawless. He didn't turn the ball over. He played his best game of his career. He looked phenomenal. That's the version of Alan Bowman we need. We need Ollie Gordon to have a number of splash plays. But most importantly, the reason why Oklahoma lost that game is because they made a number of critical mistakes. There were a number of stupid mistakes that cost them that football game. Texas has played their cleanest football all year long in this current stretch of games that they have. They have been fantastic. I don't think this is going to happen, but the only reasonable way that it ends up playing out this way is if Quinn Ewers and the running back core turn the ball over 3+ times. They're going to have to make a bunch of stupid mistakes if that ends up happening. That's realistically the only possibility because Oklahoma State's very advantageous. They are a team that has succeeded by taking advantage of mistakes. So that's what's probably going to need to happen for them.
Dude, are you like me in thinking that this game is going to be a splattering?
Yeah. Let me throw this out there at you. I think Texas needs to win this game by 20+ to help their case for the playoff.
All right.
When it gets contentious.
I'm glad you brought that up because you talked about Cardale Jones earlier, which makes me think of this. Okay. Which, what a pull. Cardale Jones, didn't think that name would come up in this show today, but nevertheless, here we are. Remember that year when we did not know if they were going to make the playoff, and they legitimately, I think it was Wisconsin that they went out there against and beat them like 59-7, something ridiculous, and they get in the playoff, they win it all. I forget the final score of that game, but in the Big Ten championship game, they blew them out. I agree with you. I think Texas has to do that. Okay. But nevertheless, I don't know if they can do that because look, Brooks is not there. My personal opinion, I know that I thought that they're going to have to win a shootout. You're going to have to keep the ball as long as you can. If you're Oklahoma State, you got to do what Mizzou did to Tennessee and just hold on to the ball for 40 minutes. Don't give them the ability to score. But look, the bottom line thing is for me, Joe, okay, bottom line, I think Texas is going to win. I would pick them by 2 scores. I like Oklahoma State. I like watching the mullet coach. I like Alan Bowman, even though you said I don't. I love Ollie Gordon, but I just don't think they have enough green grass athletes to take on Texas. I think Texas wins this. And, Joe, I'm going to be honest. I thought about this longer this week. I think that Texas, if one of these teams up top loses, I think that they're in. I really do.
I agree with that, and I think that the way this really does give them a good opportunity because we both agree that we think that this is going to be just insanely lopsided because of the momentum that Texas has right now and the way that Oklahoma State has been scraping by in so many of the games that they've had recently.
I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say they have a situation here where the committee is going to have this lasting memory in their mind when they're making this decision. They're going to be like, look what they just did in their championship game. Look what they just did. Why wouldn't we pick this team that just did this? And if Washington and Florida State go down, I think it's an easy plug-in for Texas to go in.
I think even if Florida State does win, and even if that game's close, if they blow out Oklahoma State, they're going to be tempted to put them in. I'm telling you. Watch what I'm telling you.
I won't take us down that rabbit hole. I won't take us down there because you and I will start yelling at each other.
Don't ever forget, ESPN and this college football playoff is about money and it's about eyeballs. And there's a lot of eyeballs in Texas. That's all I'll say.
Make sure you check out Bet Online for all of your sports betting needs. For anything that I do betting related, I go on over to betonline.ag and I use promo code BELIEVE50. BetOnline has all of the latest updated odds for the NFL and college football seasons. Anything you need, whether it's futures, live in-game betting, no matter what, your football betting needs are met at BetOnline. And again, make sure you use that promo code BELIEVE50, BLEAV50 to get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.